From a poor farm boy to the man who would change the course of history, this is the untold journey of Abraham Lincoln, a story of pain, loss, resilience, and a vow made in silence to end the greatest injustice of his time. Stay tuned, because history is about to come alive. The year was 1828. A 19-year-old Abraham Lincoln stepped off a boat into New Orleans for the first time. To a boy raised among forests and farmland, the sight was overwhelming. Towering buildings, massive ships, and the endless hum of city life. But wonder quickly turned to horror. In the heart of the marketplace, Lincoln's eyes fell on a scene that would haunt him forever. Human beings, men, women, and children, were dragged from ships, chained like cattle, and sold to the highest bidder. Auctioneers shouted prices, buyers counted coins, and posters announced the next sale, listing the numbers of souls to be traded, as if they were objects. Every face in chains was black. Every buyer was white. Lincoln stood silent, his heart burning. He was only an unknown boat worker then, powerless and forgotten. But deep inside, he made a vow. If destiny ever gave him the chance, he would strike at the heart of this cruelty. From the start, Lincoln's life had been no stranger to hardship. At 9, he lost his mother after she drank poisoned milk. His father remarried, and though his stepmother was kind, his bond with his father grew cold, filled with distance and resentment. With little schooling, he armed himself with knowledge the only way he could, by teaching himself. By the flickering light of candles, he studied the Bible and Shakespeare. He was awkward in speech, rough in looks, but his towering height, 6 feet 4 inches, made him impossible to ignore. Years later, in the small town of New Salem, a town having fewer than 100 people, Lincoln worked as a store clerk. When the store collapsed, leaving him jobless, he faced his first real setback. But his honesty made him unforgettable. When a customer was shortchanged, he walked miles through the night just to return a few pennies. Acts like this gave him a name that would never leave him: Honest Abe. Encouraged by the trust of the people, Lincoln contested his first state election in 1832. He was confident, but he lost. With no options, he turned to hard labor, splitting wood, carrying mail, even surveying land. In a daring move, he challenged the local wrestling champion, Jack Armstrong. Though he allowed himself to lose, the act won him Armstrong's respect and a friendship that would shape his political future. Still restless, Lincoln tried again. He opened a shop with his friend William Barry while trying. In 1834, destiny gave him his first taste of victory. He was elected to the Illinois State Assembly. It was his breakthrough. But success came with shadows. In 1835, William Barry died, the store collapsed, and Lincoln was left drowning in debt. $1,800, a sum so massive it took him 15 years to repay. He called it his own national debt. And then, the heaviest blow, Anne Rutledge, the woman Lincoln loved, died of typhoid fever. Lincoln was shattered. People whispered about the grief-stricken young man, often seen at her grave, his sorrow stretching across years. By 1837, he left New Salem behind. In Springfield, he became a lawyer, rebuilt his life, repaid his debts, and married Mary Todd, a woman from a powerful family. Slowly, his world shifted. He even won a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. But Lincoln's bold opposition to slavery cost him dearly. His party abandoned him. His voters turned away. Defeated and isolated, Lincoln walked away from politics, burying himself in law and family life, closing the door on his painful past. But outside Lincoln's quiet home, America was tearing itself apart. The South, rich from plantations, clung to slavery, claiming it gave food and shelter to those enslaved. In truth, millions lived with no freedom, no rights, no humanity. The North, driven by factories and industry, rose in opposition, on moral grounds, yes, but also out of fear, for slavery threatened the jobs of free men. By the 1850s, this divide had turned blood-soaked. America was no longer debating. It was fighting. It was in this storm that Lincoln reappeared. In Springfield, crowds gathered to hear Senator Stephen Douglas defend slavery. Douglas thundered that states had the right to choose, declaring that black people were not equal to whites. His words drew applause. But when he finished, a tall, solemn figure rose. Abraham Lincoln. He spoke just one promise. Tomorrow I will answer.